I'm Greg Peterson. I am an attorney in Jamestown, New York, one of the co-founders of the Robert H. Jackson Center, and a native of Jamestown. I guess I became interested in things related to Robert Jackson as a member of the Jamestown Bar Association, and as a member, clearly the most distinguished attorney we've ever had in the history of our bar was Robert H. Jackson. It was at that time where you heard Justice O'Connor talk about the greatness of Robert Jackson, a product of this area and the school system, and we should be justly proud. So 2000, it became much more real, and in 2000, late 2000, I met with Betty Linnae, Carl Kappa, Tom Cardman of the Gebbe Foundation, and that's really where all of these little seeds began to find fruit. So December 14th, 2000 really is our Founders Day. The contemplative thoughts in 2000 was to really have a small building with just a small exhibitry to honor Robert Jackson. So it seemed important to pause to reflect on a native who did very, very well on the national and international scene. And so that perhaps motivated me. The other thing was, since a few of his contemporaries were still alive, we wanted to capture their history. And we did so using this facility as a loci, if you will, or a central point. And also safe to say, just gathering memorabilia on Jackson's career, which we had none. I mean, zero. No autographed pictures, no anything when we got started, and now we have quite a collection. And that's what's really exciting for us, is this is not just a location, a museum honoring Robert Jackson, a staid museum where you come, you look, you see, wow, he's real, and it's active today. And we've had many academics, many participants who've been at the Jackson Center to not only extol the virtues of what Jackson did and the time he did it, but more importantly, what its direction, gives us direction here today. Well, we've been pleased to, as a result of a pretty thorough search, to obtain the services of Kristen McMahon. Kristen is an attorney. She's been involved in the not-for-profit community. Graduated from St. Bonaventure University, which is a well-respected university hereby, and has come in with a great deal of vision. She led the board through its very active strategic planning process, which we're now finding fruit from that process. And so she's very focused on taking the Jackson Center in for the next 5, 10, and 20 years.
I'm Kristen McMahon. I'm the new president of the Robert H. Jackson Center. It's been a very exciting first 6 months, and I really feel as if I've gotten to see a little bit of everything that the Jackson Center does. So I want to make sure that the Jackson Center remains a local landmark, a local place of learning, but I also want to make sure that our message and the work that we do here gets out beyond Jamestown. So we received a $1.5 million grant from the state of New York as part of the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, and that is enabling us to make some improvements to the center to make the building more accessible and more comfortable as we go through additional phases of construction. The plan is to expand the classroom space, the archive space, and enable us to offer more to the area students, to local colleges, distant colleges as well. We currently have an exhibit honoring Stan Lundeen, the former Lieutenant Governor of New York State and one of our Jackson Center board members. That was put together by one of our summer interns, Ashley Gray, and debuted in September. Next year, we're gearing up for the start of the 75th anniversary of Nuremberg. Robert H. Jackson was the chief U.S. prosecutor for the International Military Tribunal at Nuremberg. And so obviously that's a big part of the work that we do here is informed by the work he did. brought in Bob Woodward as our featured speaker this summer. And that certainly was an amazing opportunity for the Jackson Center. We had more than 500 people in the Reg Lene Center for the Arts to hear Bob Woodward speak about Watergate and its legacy and how it still colors and impacts our interpretation of politics and political news today. One of the first tasks that I had coming in was to start the creation of a development plan. And so Marion and I have been working along with the development committee on the board to structure how we move forward from here.
Well, they're the successes of the Jackson Center, I would say. I mean, we have been awarded grants for the capital campaign. $1.5 million was granted by the state of New York to allow the center to expand its footprint, not only as a resource for additional educational opportunities, but to provide a more climate-controlled environment for our speakers and our programs. The work that the Robert H. Jackson Center is engaged in is work that affects the way we live. But for our supporters, we would not be able to really respect Jackson's legacy in a meaningful way. That is to provide programming for elementary, middle school, high school, college students, and adult learners who really understand that Jackson's story is our story. But for their support as volunteers, their support financially, their support as our audience, who challenge us to address the tough questions and continue to be involved in this amazing story we call democracy. So we thank them for their support.
So I see this as a transition period. It's a very positive transition. It's an upward ascension of where the Jackson is and where the Jackson will be, and I think it's very exciting times for us.
All of the work that we do here could not be accomplished without the amazing Jackson Center staff, the docents and other volunteers, all of our summer interns, and everybody who comes to attend our programs or see our exhibits. You know, every visitor to the Jackson Center is valuable. We learn so much from them. So it's also a great two-way street, that it's not just us providing education and information out there in the world, but people sharing their stories with us as well. In addition to all of the docents and other volunteers and the staff, we also have an incredibly committed board. We have a couple members of Jackson's family who serve on our board, local lawyers, dignitaries, judges, and every single one of them is committed to the success of the center. Some have been involved since the center's inception. Others are newer to the board. They are not only local, but we are a national board. And at times in the past have also been an international board. So it's always heartening to see how much people care about the organizations to which they've chosen to dedicate their volunteer time. And so I couldn't thank our board enough for their commitment. There's so much to draw from, to learn from, that it's such a fabulous stew to be in. And I am so thankful every day that I get to work here. And I'm so thankful for everybody who comes here and participates in what we do.